Today's February 10th, 2021, and in this video, I would just like to give some updates on my channel, mainly concerning its upload schedule. So, at this point, my channel has existed for right around 6 months. I made this channel in early August, just a few months before the 2020 presidential election. The main reason why I made this channel was because I saw how much was already happening in the first half of 2020 with the pandemic and the Democratic primaries. All of that stuff was happening, so I thought that it would be a good idea to create this channel, and that way, whatever happened in the second half of 2020, I could talk about, especially with the 2020 presidential election. I thought that it would be a nice way for me to talk about that. One of the first videos I actually made on this channel, I uploaded exactly 6 months ago on August 10th, 2020. In that video, I basically gave my prediction for who Joe Biden would choose as his running mate for the 2020 presidential election. I am proud to say I predicted correctly in that video. I predicted he'd choose Kamala Harris. The very next day on August 11th, 2020, that's who he ended up choosing. So, hey, if you want to watch that video, go check it out. I'm proud to say I was spot on my prediction, in my predictions for that, in that video. So that was one of the first videos I uploaded to this channel. I also uploaded a couple other videos even before that on like August 8th or something like that. Those videos in fact were actually recorded on July 2nd or sometime in early July, but I never got around to making this channel and uploading those videos until early August. Originally, this channel was created just to upload those two videos, but then I thought that there's a lot of things to talk about on this channel. Why don't I make a daily upload schedule? So I thought that it would be a good idea to begin that upload schedule in the beginning of September. So on September 3rd, that's when I started the daily upload schedule by talking about the Massachusetts Democratic primary for the Senate race. Now, I made that video on September 3rd, but I think that it took a while to upload, so it shows the published date as September 4th, 2020, but when I uploaded it, it was on September. When I made the video, it was September 3rd. When it said it was uploaded, it was September 3rd. I think it just took a while to process the video, so that's why it says published on September 4th, 2020, but I recorded that, I created the whole video on September 3rd. So that was the beginning of my daily upload schedule. And one of the reasons why I thought that early September would be a good time to start was because that's when the presidential election cycle was starting to get heated up. That's also coincidentally right around 6 months after the pandemic began. So I had seen what the pandemic had done in the United States and across the world for the past 6 months, and I realized that it was only going to continue to be like that and potentially even get worse. So I thought that it would be a good idea to make this channel so I could talk about things related to the pandemic as well as things related to the election. See, back then the election was coming up, the pandemic was still around. It's obviously still around now, but the elections finished up. Also, during the first half of 2020, that's when the Black Lives Matter protests took place across the country in response to the killing of George Floyd. And also in August of 2020, that's when the DNC took place, the Democratic National Convention, the Republican National Convention took place in August. That's also when the shooting of Jacob Blake took place, and that's when the Kyle Rittenhouse incident took place. That's also when Hurricane Laura hit. So a lot of things also happened in the second half of August, and that's really what prompted me to start doing this daily upload schedule after seeing how much had happened in the first 8 months of 2020. You had the Democratic primaries, 2020 Democratic presidential primaries. You also had COVID-19, you had the Black Lives Matter protests, and you had second half of August 2020. I think I chose a pretty good time to start my daily upload schedule. This was right before the presidential election started to get heated. This was also before the worst wave of this pandemic began in the United States. This channel, one of the main purposes was originally to make election prediction videos. Back during the fall of last year, I made a lot of videos talking about my election predictions. Obviously, I can't really do that now since the 2020 election cycle is finished up, but I've mostly been giving updates on this channel, mainly relating to COVID-19, since the presidential election finished up and since the Senate elections finished up. But I want to talk about what my upload schedule is going to look like throughout the next several months of 2021, or at least throughout the next few months. First of all, I don't know for sure how much longer I can keep up this daily upload schedule. One of the reasons why I've been able to keep up this daily upload schedule for this long, for all these months, is because of the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic is still going on and it's still pretty bad in the United States. You still have hundreds of thousands of cases every single day in the United States, and because of that, I've mostly just been staying indoors. A lot of the activities that I would normally do if there wasn't a pandemic, I can't really do now because it's pretty unsafe to do those activities, and because of that, I have a lot more time, and that gives me more time to make these these daily videos and do this daily upload schedule. But believe it or not, this pandemic is not going to last forever. It does feel like it will, but keep in mind we already have the vaccine, and already around 8% of the United States population has received at least one shot of the vaccine. So the end of this pandemic is closer than it may seem. And what that means is that eventually I will start doing a lot of the activities that I once did before the pandemic began, which will give me less time to make these videos, which means that I probably won't be able to do this daily upload schedule at that point. See, back when I started this daily upload schedule in early September of 2020, which was almost 6 months ago at this point, a little over 5 months ago at this point, the lockdowns had already been going on for right around 6 months, which now it doesn't seem that much in comparison, considering that at this point the lockdowns have been going on for almost a year. Now, a lot of people aren't taking the lockdowns seriously anymore. I wish more people would take them seriously, considering that COVID 19 is still pretty bad in the United States. But regardless, this pandemic has been going on in the United States for almost a year at this point. But even in September, they'd already been going on for 6 months. And I had to come to terms with the fact that even though it already felt like the lockdown had been going on for a long time back in September, that it would go on for quite a while longer, because I realized that the vaccine wouldn't come out until sometime in 2021. We actually got a bit lucky on that. It came out at the very end of 2020, but most people won't even have access to it until a few months into 2021 anyway, so how much difference does that make to most people? It doesn't really make that much of a difference if you don't have the vaccine, if you don't have access to the vaccine yet. My point is that I realized that even though we were already deep into the pandemic, there was still a long ways to go before we were out of this. So I thought that to get through these next several months, I would make this daily upload schedule. I thought that it would really help me comprehend what's going on by helping me to talk things out and basically talk about what all was going on. So I thought that this would be a good way, good outlet for basically for me to talk about what all was going on in the world. Back in September, I really didn't know how much longer the lockdowns would last. They had lasted for 6 months, but I thought that it could be 8 more months, it could be a year, it could even be longer than a year, who knew? I was pretty pessimistic at that point, a lot more pessimistic then than I am now. Right now, I'm relatively optimistic about how quickly this pandemic will end. I believe that by the end of 2020, we'll be mostly out of the woods and most people will have access to the vaccine. But in September, I felt pretty pessimistic about this whole pandemic, and I didn't know how much longer things would last. So I thought that since I'd already been in lockdown for a while, and since it seemed like I would be in it for a while longer, I should start doing this daily upload schedule, considering that I have more time to work on these videos anyway, and I've had more time to work on them for the past several months. I thought that a daily upload schedule would work out fine. And it has been working out fine. I've had the time to make these videos because most of the activities that I once did, I no longer do. But once this pandemic mostly comes to an end, which will probably be sometime this year, maybe in the next few months, I will not have as much time to make these videos. And then the question is, what do I do then? So, what I'm thinking is, I will continue to my daily upload schedule for the next few months, but whenever it starts to seem like things are getting back to normal and life's getting back to normal for many people, that's when I think I'll start to slow down a bit on my upload schedule and go from one video a day to maybe like 2 videos per week or something like that. So I guess that for the next few months I can still continue to do this daily upload schedule. Keep in mind, the main reasons why I made this channel in the first place and started this daily upload schedule was one, because of the 2020 elections, and two, because of COVID 19. Now, actually, I was originally planning on only keeping this upload schedule up for 2 months until November 3rd, 2020, once the election came around. But then I thought that I should keep on going until Inauguration Day, January 20th. But that day's already passed, and I still continued with this daily upload schedule because I realized that there's still a lot to talk about. Even though the elections are now finished up, the 2020 elections, which was one of the two main topics that this channel was supposed to be dedicated to, there's still COVID 19. COVID 19 is not going away for quite a while longer, so that I will still have that to talk about for many more months, and that's probably going to be the number one focus of this channel in the upcoming months. So probably throughout a good part of 2021, most of my videos will be focused on COVID-19, and a lot of my videos in my daily upload schedule will be focused on that. So, getting to the final point of my video, what is my daily upload schedule going to look like for the next few months? Well, I've decided that I will do one video per week giving worldwide updates on the COVID 19 numbers, one update per week giving updates on the United States COVID 19 numbers, and then I'll also give a third video per week talking about how much progress has been made on vaccine distribution. So that's 3 videos per week dedicated specifically to COVID-19. Then the other 4 days per week, I will really just do whatever, depending on what's in the news at the time, or if anything recent that's a major event has happened, I'll talk about that. Or if I just have some updates to give, I'll also talk about that. Those are basically just miscellaneous videos, but 3 videos per week will be dedicated specifically to COVID 19. One of them is the worldwide COVID 19 numbers, another one is United States COVID 19 numbers, third one is the vaccine distribution and how much progress we've made on that. So that's mainly what I wanted to talk about in this video, what my plan is for the near future, but also what's going to happen in the not so near future, in like several months from now, once this pandemic starts to clear up. The other thing to think about that I should start to consider is that what am I going to focus on this channel? What topics am I going to focus on once the pandemic clears up? If that's going to be the main focus of my channel, because if I'm making 3 videos per week specifically about COVID 19, what am I going to do once this pandemic clears up? I still have to think about that. I actually don't know what I'm going to do then, but the thing is that once this pandemic really does start to clear up, I'm already going to be doing my regular activities once again, and I'm probably going to be a lot more busy with things outside of this YouTube channel at that point. So at that point, I highly doubt that I will still be doing this daily upload schedule. So at that point, I'm probably just going to find other things to talk about. I'll probably do the 2 videos per week thing that I just mentioned. I guess at that point, I can talk about on this channel the current events at the time, but that's still many months away. This pandemic is definitely not going to clear up, at least for several more months. I'm still pretty optimistic though that by the end of 2021 we can mostly be out of this pandemic, at least in the United States. The unfortunate reality though is that many other countries are not getting access to the vaccine as quickly as the United States is, and for them it's going to take a lot longer to reach herd immunity. One pretty depressing statistic that's on the Bloomberg vaccine tracker page is that at the current rate of vaccine distribution, it's going to take 7 years for the entire planet to reach herd immunity. It's going to take right around 7 years for enough vaccines to be given to the global population to where there's herd immunity across the planet, which is pretty depressing to think about. See, for the United States, we're probably going to reach herd immunity by late 2021 or maybe early 2022, but for the worldwide, for many other countries, especially those that aren't nearly as fortunate as the United States, those might not reach herd immunity. Those countries may not reach herd immunity for several more years. May not be until like the mid 2020s or even the late 2020s that some places across this planet reach herd immunity, which is pretty sad to think about. Hopefully, more vaccines can be distributed across the planet. Hopefully, as time goes on, more and more vaccines can be given to populations across the planet. And hopefully, we have more than just 2 or 3 vaccines soon enough. Because right now, we just have Pfizer, Moderna, and in some countries, but not the United States, there's AstraZeneca. Johnson & Johnson is supposed to come along soon, so that would bring us to 4. But hopefully, in the upcoming months, we can get even more vaccine companies to get vaccines released to the public. Then maybe we can start reaching herd immunity at a worldwide level. In terms of the United States, we will likely reach herd immunity by the end of this, maybe not by the end of this year, but maybe early next year we can reach it. I'm pretty optimistic about the United States and how quickly they can reach herd immunity, but in terms of the worldwide population, I'm a lot less optimistic because that's just the reality. A lot of countries on this planet aren't getting access to the vaccine. They aren't able to access the vaccine like us in the United States are able to, like people in the United States are able to. I'm really hoping that as time goes on, though, we can start to get vaccines out to these people. I've said this many times, the vaccination distribution process needs to be a global effort because until every country can recover from this virus, it's still a threat to everybody. If the virus is there in just one country, it has the potential to mutate into a new variant that is potentially resistant to the vaccine, and then we're going to have an entirely new outbreak across the planet. So that is why the whole vaccination process needs to be a worldwide effort. That was a pretty long tangent. The main point of this video is to talk about the updates to my channel. Hopefully you enjoy the videos I continue to make on this channel.